A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
Regarding in progress.
I thought you liked her now.
I did, but it's called character growth, and now I don't.
I feel like it's character degeneration.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went back.
But there's going to be more later. Sorry, that was last week's bit. But
yeah, I was about to say, why are we still in the D&D bit? What is this?
There are no accidents. I don't know. I did the introduction mostly last time. Someone else explain what we're doing here today.
We're bringing back D&D TCRPG horror stories from Reddit. Yay!
Yeah. That's it. We're doing this again. We're reading some horror stories. We're going to talk about them. We're going to react to them.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody been able to find a princess update? That's the first important thing to talk about, because I have not seen anything from that game, and I'm
What was the name of that?
interested.
What was the name of that user?
I could check real quick. Yeah.
Was that Goggalore?
It was Goggalore. Yeah.
Goggalore. We stand Goggalore. Unless they're a horrible person,
do stand
then we
Goggalore
don't
here.
stand Goggalore.
U/Goggalore.
Oh, you're checking.
I got Goggalord.
I don't think it was Goggalore.
Dragagalore. Go-Go-Galore. Ego-Lore. Go-Galore lag.
Whatever. Yeah, we'll find it later, because I mean, I know I said the full name. I think there was like some numbers in it as well or something. We can find it if we just go watch our old video, which is appearing on the card right now above us. Maybe.
Holy shit.
Wow, look at the thing. Hey, that's getting kind of close, huh?
I bet it's getting a little close, huh?
And that episode reference is in another card. I don't think you can do two. Who knows? I upload videos. I don't think you can do two.
You're not saying you know.
True.
We'll find out.
We could do the old-fashioned annotations.
Oh, those things. Oh my goodness. Some of those videos were crazy.
And that's when we find out that Jordan just forgot to put any cards in the video.
I don't think she would do that. She's responsible.
Yeah.
Are we sure about that?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
But anyways, who do we want to start with today? Who's going to start us off today?
I got a lot. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give you guys a collection, and I want you to pick. Okay. Well, actually, I don't want you to pick. I have 6, so you just guys pick 2 through 6 for me.
2.
7.
Okay. Dang it, Jordan. You. Okay.
I panicked 5.
Well, here we have. I'm on r/crit crab is where I'm exploring. Shout out to Crit Crab. You're a crit crab. I have u/food poisoning. Food poisoning. Thank you. My first D&D memory. This is kind of a lengthy one, so buckle up. I'll try to be a little hasty. Yeah. For the purpose of this story, I will be, for the most part, referring to people by the class they are playing. I didn't need that preamble, but thank you. Hello, everyone. First time posting. Okay, relatively new to D&D. They've been interested in playing. They never actually had anyone to play with. They watched campaigns on YouTube, Twitch. They became very familiar with the mechanics of D&D, never had a chance to play. Then an online friend of food poisonings started to play a campaign, and they did a trainer campaign to familiarize new players, and so that's where they started. They all started at level 1, except for one player, but they said we'll get to that. The first session was pretty basic. They fought a couple rats and nearly got knocked comically unconscious by them. It was fun. The group was small at the time, as not everyone who wanted to play was ready. So for session 1, the players were the DM, a person's friend. They had a DM PC, an elf paladin, which I'm just going to call paladin from now on. They had an ASMR sorcerer, and a warlock. Someone that the author notes, food poisoning notes, they weren't particularly close to the warlock, but they knew the sorcerer and the paladin well. And then themselves, a cleric, a warforged cleric. I don't know if that's going to matter or not. Session 2. They said that they wrote this session 2 post hours after it happened. Paladin couldn't make it. That was the DM.
Oh no.
Interesting.
I'm confused.
Already we're getting interesting.
Oh, no. I was wrong. Okay. It was a little poorly written here because the line is DM equals DM. And then just a singular space, my friend equals paladin. So I thought it was like DM, my friend is playing a paladin. So there's a DM, and then the friend is a paladin. Okay. 2 separate entities.
Bad punctuation. Bad use of punctuation.
Yeah. But so the paladin couldn't make it. But another friend, a human ranger, came. Then there was the sorcerer. A friend of the sorcerer came, playing a kobold hexblade warlock. Calling them hexblade from now on instead of warlock. And then a third person joined that they all were friends with. Everybody was friends with. They were playing a custom lineage half-tiefling barbarian named Gaston.
No one.
Oh no.
The session began with the guild master assigning more newbies for warlock to mentor. Intro Gaston, the ranger, and hexblade. I like they don't call them barbarian, they call them Gaston in particular.
There's probably a reason.
Yeah.
Can I make a character who's actually a halfling and his name's LeFou and he's really good friends with Gaston and he follows him around everywhere?
That's later, spoilers. They received a quest to check out a disturbance for a farmer and his wife caused by a local wildfire. On their trek, the hexblade acted like a gremlin kobold and tried to climb the shoulder of the tallest party member, which was our author, Food Poisoning, a 6'4" warforged. Sure, okay. They let him do it. I don't even know if that was an important detail, but whatever. They found 7-foot-tall cobblestone walls around most of the property, except for exits and entrances. Okay. Warlock, hexblade, and author see a bear just out of the way. They roll initiative. I guess it was aggressive, or they just really didn't like that bear.
They didn't like how I was looking at him.
Yeah. They rolled initiative. The hexblade jumped off the person's shoulders, and then pretty much they all ganged up on it and beat up the first bear. I guess there's more bears.
More bears.
Yeah. Yeah, they immediately spotted another bear after this. Come on, get me into the action here. Soon after, Gaston and Sorcerer joined us in the fields. They dispatched the second bear. Warlock calls out for help, getting another bear. So many bears.
Oh my god, what is this?
They are not pack animals, I don't think, right?
They are now.
In my world, actually, bears are pack animals.
True.
It's canon in Vivia now.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
We go.
You have no say over that.
You just said.
What? It's true. No. The author says, now the real fun begins. A fourth, significantly larger bear emerges.
This one's big. Why? What?
Okay.
Bear.
Where was I? Lost myself. Okay. The author gets a brilliant idea. They threw the kobold hexblade. Fair enough. They did it. They were on board. It was like agreed upon, consensual kobold throwing. Grabbed him, threw him with a successful check, but he had to roll a dex save to land. Natural 20. Okay, sure. I just want more Gaston at this point. They kept fighting the big bear. What did I miss? Wait. Satisfied that we pulled off what I thought would be the highlight of the night, I prepared myself to take the long trek around. I guess they're still fighting the big bear. I don't know what he means by the long trek around. I guess it was hard to get to the bear, hence the
Hey, it's
throwing.
a big bear.
Yeah.
See, my question is, where were they trying to go that the DM didn't want them to go, so the DM just kept throwing bears in their
I don't
way?
know. I love their writing here. So he's like, I gotta take the long trek around, but oh boy, was I wrong. Not even 10 minutes later, and I suppose that probably means in real time, not in-game time, Gaston flies into rage and decides he is getting to the other yard. He tries to crash through the cobblestone wall with rage, getting him advantage on strength checks. He rolls a nat 20, catapults through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. Pulled the attention of the bear off of the Hexblade and the Ranger. They just blast spells, healed it. Gaston gets another natural 20 with a javelin throw and kills the big bear.
Hell yeah,
Just
Gaston.
like the one from the movie, the hunter.
That's the whole story.
That's it?
That's the whole story.
I feel like the D&D horror story was this story.
Yeah.
I played D&D, and it played just like D&D.
Yeah!
Food poisoning. You're not very entertaining. I'm glad you had fun though, but
Glad you had fun
You're
and
doing
wanted to
great,
share
sweetie.
it with the rest of the world.
sometimes D&D played in the moment is more fun than reading about how D&D went.
That's the thing. I will try to tell other people stories of what we did, and it's so much cooler when we were playing it. But then I'm like, yeah, we were in a house and we talked to people, and everybody's like, okay. Like,
You had a conversation with your friends?
But thank you for sharing food poisoning. I'm glad you had a great first D&D memory, and I
Yeah.
hope Gaston is doing well. Please
I hope
send
he's
him my
doing
love.
well. I hope no one else is like Gaston.
Yeah.
no one fights like Gaston.
Hey, you want to know a little secret about me? I played LeFou
Gaston.
in
That's not a
our high
secret,
school
bud.
in our high school's rendition of Beauty and the Beast. So I'm right there.
Wait, that was Beauty and the Beast?
I'm right there next to him. Yeah.
Yeah, we were really confused, Pertuset, when you just got on stage and started going tick tock, because that wasn't in the script.
I kind of thought we were doing like a what do you call that?
Pantomimicry?
No, like we were doing like an homage, like a musical performance homage to the guy that made the melted clock painting.
Salvador Dali.
Yeah, I thought that's what the TikTok. This
It worked. You managed to have those two things aligned so that everyone kind of understood what you were doing. Anyways, let's get back to D&D.
Yeah, another one. Yeah, give me. I'm gonna get rid of this one.
Yeah, okay. I'll read mine that I
Okay.
have now, which I feel like just from reading the title is much more of a horror story. And this is from r/D&D horror stories, and it is from user Scruffy_beard spelled with two E's and no A.
Beard.
Yeah. So
Beard.
the title of this horror story is, in quotations, "That's what my character would do."
Uh-oh.
So, it's pretty mild, since the campaign didn't run that long. It was my first campaign, Tomb of Annihilation, but the DM was experienced enough that I wasn't worried. The party was made up of 4 players. Me, a monk, a ranger, a barbarian, and a sorceress. For context, he is the monk. The sorceress is our issue. She was a tiefling, wild magic sorceress, who was prone to sleeping with anything and everything that moved while in town. This itself wasn't terrible, as these escapades were not roleplayed at all, thank God. The problem was that after her nighttime activities, she would force the party to come looking for her as she partook in the hospitality of whomever she decided to bone that night. One time, it took 3 in-game days to find her. Strike 1. If you've ever played Tomb of Annihilation, you know that a good deal of the early game is navigating the jungle, trying to find your way to wherever it is you're trying to go. 3 chances for encounters every night. We set up watches. She tried to weasel her way out of watch duty as often as possible, and if something did happen during her watch, she wouldn't warn us. She would
Lamau.
hide in the shadows and wait for one of us to respond, then attack from the shadows.
That's not cool.
One random encounter we got was an undead Tyrannosaurus at level 3. This happened on her watch. She didn't try to wake us. She also didn't hide in the shadows. She just ran and left us to our fate. It was a very narrowly avoided death. Strike 2. She had absolutely no regard for her AoE spells. On one occasion in particular, she cast Flaming Hands into melee and killed the party's beloved flying monkey, which only her character hated, and nearly killed the barbarian. He was left with 5 HP and 4 remaining enemies to fend off. Strike 3. The DM asked her to be more considerate and make concessions to the party so the party could enjoy their time as well, and she got angry. It's what my character would do. I can't help it, in quotations. So the rest of the party, quote, did what their characters would do and paid one of her suitors to get rid of her. I don't know how it played out in the end, since the DM did it in a private session. He wanted to give her one more chance, one-on-one, to make it right and let her RP her way out of it. All I do know is that we never saw her, the player or the character, again. This is a very new story. It was posted 2 hours ago.
Oh.
That's a shame. Sorry you had to play with that. User
that
Scruffy
sucks.
Beard.
Yep.
Typical. I didn't pay attention to all the details. I didn't catch if this was like their first play-in or if this was the player's first time.
It was their first campaign, he said.
Very typical of first-timers. There's not every person, but and it feels like every first-time group, there's a few people that don't really get the memo about like what to do, and you get people like that. That's one type it can take.
Yeah.
As we'll see with others here, but what if you had to chalk? I mean, the guy did a good job of the strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, but if you had to chalk up the no-nos, what would you say were no-nos performed by the problem player?
I would have just done 3 strikes once you got to the watch stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's
if you're not going to
actively
participate
sabotaging.
In watches, yeah.
That's actively sabotaging your team, quote unquote, and making the game difficult for other people for no reason.
That's just not cool.
So
that and the drawing out the whole, because the adultery thing is funny once, but if you 3 in-game days, like no.
I don't even know who had. I can't imagine this player being like, guys, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would have been like, I'm loving it. Like,
this is funny. Come find. No, at that point, I mean, honestly, I feel like in our group, if it's like, oh, you're not back within the day, fine, you live here now, bud.
You live here now. Bye bye. We're leaving. Have fun.
Have fun with your new life partner, I guess.
Yeah.
I just don't deal with that stuff. I mean, it's like, if you're gonna go out of your way to not be with the party, you deserve anything you get. Like if you have I don't want to be mean, but like a lily liver DM. I know, harsh words.
So rude. Oh my gosh, Pertuset.
If you have a DM that's like, oh well, we'll like see what happens, and we'll have more sessions with just you, so that way we see what happens with your character. Consider yourself lucky. If it were me, it'd be like, oh, you're just going to stay? Like, you're trying to do something there? All right. Thanks for coming in. You don't have to come next week.
Yeah.
It's like letting go from a company.
If you're not going to be a part of the main story, I don't need to tell your story. That's my job as the DM, is to tell the main story.
It's just not fun for anybody. Get out of here. Except for maybe you, but I ain't here to please you. I'm here to have fun with my friends.
They don't explain it, but I'm guessing because they were saying it's their first campaign, it was probably the other player's first campaign as well.
That's what I'm figuring.
So learning experience. Like you said, like
that.
Yeah, like you two were saying earlier, usually there's something like that in the early group. We dealt with it ourselves. And eventually you find the concrete base. You find the ones that aren't going to cause issues and you stick with them. And that's where we are. So just keep playing the game. keep doing you. What was your name
Mhm.
again? Scruffy Beard.
Scruffy Beard. I will say about the watches thing, I think there's some leniency. I think if your character is like, I don't want to do watches and vocalizes that to the party, that works,
No.
but I think you still need to eventually do a watch. I think that like you can just
Yeah.
have a cowardly character that's like ghost and they don't want to. I think
No.
that's if that was
Do,
it. That'd be
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
but-
do like a Shaggy or Scooby type thing where the second they hear anything go bump in the night, they're like, guys,
wake up, wake
guys,
up,
wake up.
everyone wake up.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
would be good, yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts about Scruffy Beard's post?
I think you just gotta I mean, it doesn't sound like from how he ended it that he was
Like
dissuaded or
Yeah.
jaded.
Mhm.
Yeah, so keep playing the game.
Yeah,
Keep playing
keep
the
up
game.
with it.
Find your people. We believe in you, Scruffy Beard.
Ooh.
All right, Jordan. I believe you have a story for us.
All right, I have one. Don't remember what subreddit it's from, but the user is "That's a lot of oranges."
Mm,
Okay.
So the title is a D&D horror story from my table about a min-maxing rogue who ruined the game for everyone else at the table. Backstory: I've been the DM of my group, which contains a fighter, a wizard, and our problem player, the rogue. The issue began in session 0 when the players were turning their character sheets. I noticed the player had a 16 in dex. This doesn't make sense to me, so I confronted the player about it, and he said it's the primary stat for rogues. This should have been a big red flag, but I reluctantly let him play because we're a small group and couldn't afford to lose another member. The second red flag came when combat first started. The players were confronted by a group of goblins. The rogue immediately pulls out a rapier. Apparently, he insists that there's some obscure rule in one of the books that lets him use his dex for the attack and damage modifier when wielding his overpowered weapon. I should have kicked him out right there, but I didn't want to ruin the game night for everyone else, so I sighed and let him continue. This is when the real horror story starts. After he rolls and hits the goblin, the rogue announced, "Okay, I'm going to roll my sneak damage." I was instantly taken aback. What? No, you're not hidden and the goblin sees you. Plus, being hidden wouldn't even do extra damage, it would just mean you have advantage on the attack. The rogue pointed to another obscure rule somewhere in one of his books that he insisted would let him do an extra 1d6 when one of his allies was within 5 feet of the target. So the swashbuckler feature.
Mhm.
And if that's not bad, then this increased with level, meaning at level 20, he would be able to do an extra 10d6 damage. And here's the kicker. You know what I said? You know how I said this ability requires an ally to be near a target? Well, turns out the rogue had been intentionally standing close to the fighter so that he could use this ability on whatever enemy was nearby. Min-maxing is one thing, but straight up metagaming like that was a bridge too far. Needless to say, I told him that this ridiculous ability wasn't allowed at the table. He insisted it isn't overpowered, despite the fact that with the damage on his rapier plus the sneak attack bonus, he'd be doing over twice the damage that the wizard was with his quarterstaff or the fighter was doing with punching. When I finally got him to accept that I wasn't going to allow this overpowered garbage, he got pouty and asked, "Alright, can I restart my character as a different class? Sneak attack is kind of a core feature for rogues, and if we're not going to use it, then I'd rather play a different class." That's when I finally made the smart move and told him to get out. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the game since there were no longer enough players, but no D&D is better than bad D&D. TLDR, metagaming munchkin tries to win at my table, got kicked out when he couldn't accept the DM ruling.
This has to be ironic. This
There's
has
some
to be
problems
ironic.
in that story.
There are
This has-
problems on all fronts.
Well, but
The-
there's like some deep cuts, Jordan. There's almost,
he has to be ironic. There's no way.
almost every single ruling that the DM was like some obscure rule are like canon actual normal rules.
Yeah,
No, I
Every
know.
single one. I feel like we just read a horror story from the perspective of a horror
Of the person
yeah,
doing
no,
the
that's
horror.
why I picked
perpetrator.
That's why I'm
picked
over
it.
here like
Good
this has to be
pick.
this has to be completely ironic. There's
You
no
and
yeah,
way.
Levi
no.
and I both just like
Yeah, no,
why
this
not?
has to
we
be
were-
from the point of the problem. Yeah, that poor rogue.
Honestly, I even used the kimono emoji, and I never used that.
Why? What?
Yeah, no, it's that whole post is just, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Like,
Finesse is a weapon feature for rapiers and other weapons that lets you
Yes.
strength or dex for attack and damage modifier. Rogues get if they get advantage on an attack, they get
You
to do
get
sneak.
sneak damage.
Or if it's swashbuckler and it's only one enemy, then they get
Mhm.
it. But if it's not swashbuckler, if it's any other, and an ally is 5 feet of an enemy, you get sneak attack.
Yeah.
Which it sounded like that's what they were talking about.
I couldn't tell if
thing.
I couldn't tell if it was trying to use the flanking rule or the swashbuckler feature. I couldn't tell which one that was, but yeah, no, it was that's a D&D rule.
Even without flanking, if you're a rogue that's not a swashbuckler and you have an ally within 5 feet of an enemy, you get sneak on the attack that you make. So like that's why TJ, when he plays Cosmo, always is like, I need someone standing next to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a normal rogue feature.
That's
subclasses.
a rogue rule.
And this rogue was like, I'm trying to play a rogue, and the DM kept going, I don't like your feature.
No.
And the comparison is like, I don't know how this martial rogue was able to outdamage my wizard's quarterstaff and my fighter's fists, which don't scale. They are literally just the strength modifier plus 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so mad that this person thinks they're in the right. I'm really mad. This person.
That's a lot of oranges, but you're not. This is not the move.
This is I'm making a call-out post on my twitter.com of that's a lot of oranges.
You are in the wrong, and I'm sorry. You were really mean to your player for no reason.
Look up if you're gonna play the game, know the rules. At least if for the character classes.
Yeah, if you're gonna DM, look into the character classes of your players.
My goodness, Levi, thoughts? You're kind of quiet over there.
Sorry, I found another story, and the title is just shocking me in amazement. But this is Pertuset and I, sadly, we don't usually do visuals for the podcast episodes, but if you could see us, because we do have our, face cams on to look at each other, and we were both, jaw open, agape in horror as Jordan continued to read this.
I'm gonna send you the video. We'll make a short. We'll make a short of the reactions.
Yeah, of how ridiculous this DM just
I can give you a buzzer shot.
Yeah. I was so immediately coming out of the story, I was just repeating over and over again, this has to be ironic. There's no way.
It has
There's
to.
no way.
I really hope that it's not. Oh
if it's a troll, if it's a well put together where they're just I'm gonna try and make the worst horror story.
Yeah. Because I cannot fathom a human being doing all of that
wrong.
Being that wrong, claiming to be a good DM, and then being all of these obscure rulings that they found when their main rules,
just the player's handbook,
the
player's handbook entry for rogues.
And most of those rules weren't even editions in 5th edition. They've been here for a long time too. I cannot comprehend it not being ironic. So I'm choosing to believe this is a very elaborate joke.
Maybe it was a test.
It's all a bit.
It was a test for this Reddit to see if they could find all the problems.
Yeah.
Well, I once heard a wise man say, if you want to know how wrong you are, post something on the internet.
Yes,
I need to find that post again and look at the comments, because I didn't look at the comments, but I guarantee that they're gold.
Gold star on that fine, Jordan. You had us twisted up. Because I thought you were reading it like you were actually I can't believe this rogue, and I was who's gonna kill her?
Oh my god. Okay.
No, having read the rogue features, I knew what I was talking about.
You made me so happy when you were like, I can't believe this DM either. I was like,
Thank you.
You raise me up. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, I know you have a lot, Pertuset, but I really want to read this one, and it's okay. It's kind of short. Okay. It is titled "Annoying Player Eats Librarian."
Now hold on, I take offense to that.
What the fuck?
This might not be as bad as some of the stories here, but it is still really annoying, although funny. To set the scene, I have 4 good friends who are playing in this campaign. In the interest of privacy, I will be using their character names. They are Cubert, a slime folk ranger, Discreet, a tiefling sorcerer warlock, Ouroboros, dragonborn druid rogue, and No Name, pronounced Num Num. Nunum.
No,
I love it.
Num.
Jack-o'-lantern, cleric wizard.
Why? What were they
So we-
on?
We got some homebrew. We got some homebrew going on. So a couple of weeks ago, we meet up for the first session, starting from level 5. I had told the players beforehand that okay, so this guy's the DM. I had told the players beforehand that this, unlike some of my previous campaigns, was serious. Okay. I expected Num Num to act up a bit. He was the reason for my Horde of the Dragon Queen game turning into a dragon taming simulator. Don't ask me how. But that was in a campaign where it was fine. So I expected a few shenanigans, which I got. However, that was nothing compared to what Qbert did. We have a bullet
Not
list.
Qbert,
We have a
not
bulleted
Qbert.
list. Qbert's crimes.
What do you mean?
Having his background be acolyte, but whenever I mentioned him being a part of a religious group, he said that Qbert wasn't. Claiming that 4E was better than 5E, then saying that I should have been DMing this in 4E. In parentheses, I had been planning this for months using 5E and had never even DM'd 4E before, and we were in the middle of the adventure. Trying to eat the books in the library. Trying to eat the librarian and getting a nat 20. Re-rolling rolls until he gets a nat 20. I just watched him every time and took the first one he got. Kidnapping Ouroboros and Num Num and throwing them off a cliff. Num Num had Featherfall, so they were fine. Saying that Ouroboros didn't get a long rest because he was on guard duty, so he wasn't at full HP, so the attack from a lizard folk should have killed him. I actually want to know, is that a thing that makes sense because everyone in the party agreed that he didn't get a long rest? Assuming the teleportation circle was a portable hole just because it said it was just because I said it was 10 feet in diameter, even after an NPC gave clear dialogue, they had incited him, telling them it was a teleportation circle, and I, as the DM, told him it was a teleportation circle. He has an 18 in intelligence. Proceeding to try and pick up the portable hole. After failing that, trying to pick up the floorboards. After failing that, proceeding to barf up the librarian, who was the NPC's daughter, making a terrible Breaking Bad joke, then trying to tie that into his backstory.
What?
Trying to deal drugs, though I did let him do this one. Trying to have significant character development without me knowing about it, without anything related to it being tied into the backstory he sent me. What I mean by this is he tried seeing if a character named Walter was in the location.
Oh my.
I wanted to know where this was going, so I said yes. Then he tried doing a drug deal with Walter, and then claimed that to be character development because of something in his backstory. He told me his backstory was Qbert defeated a dark wizard, making him well known in the Underdark. He then left the Underdark, trying to turn into a car, becoming Batman.
Yeah.
This one isn't actually his fault. Killing my modified ochre jellies using non-magic attacks. I modified them so that if they were killed with non-magic attacks, they would split into 2 weaker ochre jellies. Running away once there were 3 of them, leaving Ouroboros to die.
That's funny.
And finally, insulting an encounter I had been planning since I had started playing the campaign. The encounter happened the first time a character died, Ouroboros died. The dead player would wake up in a room of the player's description. An entity known as the Wise One would offer them a deal allowing them to return to life if they agreed to take a level in Warlock next time they leveled up. Hubert's player said this was a dumb thing that I made up on the spot because I didn't want Ouroboros to die, because I didn't let him die earlier because he didn't heal from a long rest. Overall, while some of it was quite funny and some of it wasn't entirely his fault, it was still super annoying to deal with. So I have shared this story with you.
I love Qbert.
What a shame. This person.
I love the ones that have bulleted lists on them. Oh, the bulleted lists ones are so funny.
This sounds like Taryn on crack.
It was Taryn if he didn't actually stop himself when he said something would be funny.
Well, there's a whole nother level because this person was apparently actually annoying because of their insistence on things. It reminds me of another friend we have because of their insistence on things working the way they want it to. But It just worked out comedically every time.
Yeah.
It was only funny.
That's the funniness of it. Makes me think of Taryn. Because I wasn't focusing on the being annoying part. It was just the, like, what is the most bizarre like, asking for Walter.
See, this makes me think of Walmart group, because, like, not really spoilers, but one person in my Walmart group very frequently gets very drunk in the sessions, because he thinks his opinion is there's no other way to play D&D than drunk. And he does this stuff. He'll just be like, it's the paladin. He'll just be like, hey, can I, like, fly?
I can't breathe.
And this whole thing just made me think is, kids, don't D&D and drink.
Mhm.
Don't drink in
do.
D&D.
Because then we get these stories.
And we
And
get
it's
True.
wonderful.
It's funny.
My favorite was the attempt to insert Breaking Bad into his backstory.
Mine was the car, but
I want to know the
If-
details of the car.
if you are going to drink in D&D, make sure everyone's doing it, not
Yeah.
just
So
you.
responsible.
Everyone at the same time.
Because if one
We
person
should
does
do
it, it can be
that.
annoying. Taryn's not of age, Jordan.
Well, he
Not
wouldn't
yet.
do it anyway. But
He's not of age
Oh.
yet.
I'm
We
not
could
saying
travel
that he
over to
should.
like Ireland where he would be.
Just those
German.
of us that can drink, we should
Yeah.
D&D and drink.
Oh
I'd be
man.
twisted up.
I forgot to say the username.
Oh,
for
yeah.
this person.
Uh-huh.
This
Hubert.
is user Ported Cannon 565. So thank
Oh.
you, Ported Cannon
Thank you so
565, for
much.
sharing with
I-
us Hubert's
I
crime.
love it.
I am both sorry and thankful that you encountered Hubert. But a funny
My
one.
condolences, but for the shock value and comedic timing, perfect.
Oh.
Well, that was a funny. Should we get into a not funny now?
Sure.
Okay. I kind of think this one will be more interesting. We'll bounce back to the other one. Here I have a post, 0 upvotes, posted 3 hours ago, r/crit crab, u/Gumbanomicon. I'm assuming it's the Necronomicon for Gumby.
Gumby.
Has anyone ever had a player build a character that is more intelligent than they are? All right. So I was GMing a homebrewed campaign world with custom races. This is all published now. Wow. But back then, this was an early playtest with some novice players. On this homebrewed world, there are racial variants of both goblin and orc, the primary difference being that goblins are very intelligent and willing to sacrifice anything to further their own knowledge and understanding of the world,
Ooh.
and orcs are the most honorable of the races. That sounds like hobgoblins and Verdan with extra steps, but okay. Sure. They spelled physical wrong, but I'm just going to say physical. They said physical. Physical characteristics regarding size and appearances are roughly the same. The two species live together in communities, and it's common for an orc and goblin to pair up for adventuring. Fair enough. So, the two players in question create a goblin and orc along with the rest of the group. The goblin, Nibbly, will do all the thinking, and the orc, Gruel, will protect the goblin. Everything progresses nicely the first couple of sessions, and the novice players are getting the hang of the game and loving it. Great for you. Oh, did I read the username? Yeah, u/Gumbanomicon. Good for you, Gumbanomicon. They do manage to get separated from the group and actually are attempting to play catch-up. The rest of the group is a couple days ahead of them and even decides they will camp a few days and wait for the stragglers. What a nice group. I make sure to explain to the orc and goblin that they do not know the party is waiting up ahead and that would be considered out of character knowledge, which is fair. They get the gist and continue to play accordingly. Nibbly and Gruel stumble upon a human body laying in the road and determine he is alive. They made some first aid rolls, which help the human gain consciousness while also discerning that he has 2 broken legs.
Oh.
The man explains to them that he is a traveling merchant and that bandits stole his wagon and broke his legs and just left him on the side of the road. How mean! Nibbly and Gruel were not asked for aid, but decided to help this merchant reach the next town, even though they are in a hurry to catch up to the other group. That's nice.
Kind souls.
I'm waiting for the shoe to drop.
This
Yeah.
is the opposite of murder hobos at this point.
Yeah, helping hobos or helping.
hobos.
They're
helping a hobo. No.
They travel for most of the day, dragging the man in a sort of stretcher they made out of tree branches and a
okay,
blanket.
okay.
Yeah,
You
we
had
all
me
the
for a
roller
second.
coaster of that.
I was concerned.
You could hear it in my voice. Dragging the man in a stretcher. That was one of those things where the sentence, like, it ended before stretcher and then the next line started with stretcher, so I didn't know.
Oh.
Everything is going well. On this world, demons exist in a physical, you spelled it right this time, manner and have a society all their own. The players recently discovered that a nearby city had been burned by an army of demons, and refugees are a common sight in the area. Good world building, makes sense. What the group did not know was that the army was traveling the same road for quite some time. Nibbly and Gruel succeed in making a perception check and realize the army is behind them and coming their way. They even hear sounds that people are currently tracking the members of the group because they had previously helped some people escape. So hellhounds are not after Nibbly or Gruel, but they don't know that, and the players actually panic. I told them you don't have a lot of time before the hounds are here and suggest they quickly speak in character about what to do. They agree and decide they cannot outrun the hounds and demons by dragging the man behind them. I am thinking they just need to hide. They might just run and leave the merchant to his fate. Okay, so we're getting into like a giant paragraph here, and then it's the end, but... So what do we think Nibbly and Gruel are going to do? They know they're being chased by demons. They're told that they can't outrun them with this man. The DM just wanted them to hide, but they seem like they're going to leave him behind. What do you think they're going to do? Place your bets.
I don't know. They've been very kind thus
I
far.
really want to believe the best in people, but I don't think it's going to be in my favor.
I'm gonna say that they're gonna continue to be good because they've not betrayed that thus far.
Wow.
Cannon fodder.
People in the comments, guess what Nibbly and Gruel are going to do, and don't you dare look it up. So, they're speaking in character and next to the merchant, and I let them know the hounds will be to them in 3 rounds. Nibbly the goblin with the super high intelligence says, Gruel, we need bait. I will hold this human down and you use your great axe and chop his arm off.
Yep.
Then we will tie the arm to a rope and hang it from a tree.
Why not one of his legs? They were already broken.
I, Gumba Namacon, the DM, tell them a round is only 6 seconds, and you have 3 rounds before they are here. They pause and say, this is the only way.
No, Nibbly and Gruel!
I prepared myself for horrific results, and I was not disappointed.
Save this man!
And Nibbly proceeds to hold the merchant down, at which point the merchant stabs Nibbly with a dagger. Then the player playing Nibbly says, hey, you never said he had a knife. I, Gumba Namacon, the DM, calmly replied, he is a traveling merchant who had a wagon. You had ample time to search the merchant while he was unconscious, and even after he woke. You traveled with him all day and never asked him if he was armed. A concealed dagger is not unheard of, and you are a goblin who is small-sized. So now, Nibbly panics. I roll first aid on myself. I tell him the hounds are almost here. He says, if I don't roll it, the hounds will smell my blood, so can I just roll already? I allow him to roll, and he stops the bleeding. That's nice, I guess.
Yeah.
I tell them 1 round left. Gruel says, we attack! and Nibbly and Gruel battle the hounds and fail. I should mention, I was only using wolf statistics for this encounter. Not that it mattered. The hounds were tracking, doing what was expected of them, and then they attacked. They defended themselves and went back to doing the task at hand. Ignoring the mauled goblin and orc, they didn't even bother with the merchant. So the real hero in this story, the merchant, who knows an army of demons is coming, tends to the Nibbly and Gruel, helping stabilize them. The demon army is on the march, but it's at least another 30 minutes or so before they would arrive. The merchant, with 2 broken legs, manages to push the goblin and orc off the side of the road, and they roll down into a ditch. The merchant follows. Let's see. I told them they were lucky the merchant needed them to get to the next town. and they never got a reward for helping the merchant. They eventually caught up to the group, which it consisted of veteran players. I think that's it.
Honestly, I think they were doing the goblin orc stereotype pretty good there for that. We attack.
Attack.
I
Cut
stab
off his
him.
arm.
You/Gumbanomicon. An interesting story. I think your players were a little silly.
Yeah.
I also think your desire to make non-stereotypical goblin and orcs was a failure. Sorry.
Yep.
I know you said it is now published and it might be doing well, but what's the famous quote in Shakespeare that people always misquote? A rose by any other name or something like that?
Yeah.
A goblin by any other.
Precisely.
So, but it seems he does has a footnote here that says this scenario played out caused so much laughter from the other players. So at least some people had
Rightfully,
fun.
that's beautiful.
That's good. Good for you, Gumbanomicon. That was Subjective Hero by Gumbanomicon. I'm so happy for the merchant afterwards. All right, you guys got one more? Someone else got another one?
Well, that one's in SFW, so no.
Let me look.
Okay. If not, I still have two more, but I could cut one. We're going a little late. I don't want to.
The NSFW one is really short, and it's not really bad in SFW, in my opinion. It just involves a child, a baby being born. That's the NSFW
being
part.
Born.
Not like they're not like explaining it.
Well, I know. I was waiting.
The title
myself.
is
You mean
My
this is not
DM made
the
me impregnate a werewolf. That's the title.
Oh my gosh.
But it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines long.
Go for it. Do it.
I do want to know how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just a normal night of Dungeons & Dragons with the boys in a VC. My DM decided that it would be fun if the town we lived in got invaded by werewolves. My character, Sourdough, being the noble warlock, decided to fend off the werewolves. Long story short, while in combat with one of the werewolves, I told my DM that using Sourdough's bonus action, I would like to German suplex the werewolf if he allowed me to. This is the part where things go wrong. My DM mistakes German suplex for a sex position, and now Sourdough is expecting a child with the werewolf. And the top rated comment is, the most important question here is, will the child be named Fido?
Rover.
I'm so sorry.
Also, it's really funny because the title's in all caps. So it's, my DM made me impregnate a werewolf.
You've rendered him speechless. You broke the Pertuset.
It'd be a German super. It'd be like a round, 6 seconds. Like how?
I guess that's all he needed.
Oh.
My lawyers told me not to finish this joke.
Nice.
Somebody finish something.
I still have my last one. I've cut it down to one. Do you have anything, Jordan, before I do my last?
I have a quick one that I haven't read all the way through, so we'll see how this goes.
Sounds great.
It's titled D&D Horror Story from r/D&D. User Emmett123123 from a year ago.
Woo!
Okay, so in the start, he came to the game without a sheet and asked the DM a ton of questions, which slowed down the game. Not at all a big deal. But then after making the Orc Barbarian, I was talking to another player and he interrupted 4 times. Then he stopped the game in its tracks and dominated the game, doing a ton of things that had, I think that's supposed to say drastic, had drastic consequences without asking, and he did this for more than 30 minutes. Anytime I tried to talk, he interrupted me, and I couldn't get more than a sentence out. After I made a joke saying I spit on him when he rolled to find out if he saw, and he rolled low, and then argued with the DM and decided that somehow he did know, so he started combat with me when he did... What? The spelling in this is atrocious. He started combat with me when he did as a support character. I rolled low, he rolled high, and one shot killed me. As part of the game, another player can't kill another player, so I healed myself and took a long rest to come back. He asked if I was mad, to which I replied I was.
Teacher, I think Pertuset had a question.
Yes.
Keep going. This is
Oh, no.
I'm very invested in
Okay, never mind.
how this happened. This guy running away with this. Where was the DM?
I don't know.
Keep going.
He asked if I was mad, to which I replied I was. He couldn't seem to figure out why and never apologized. I'll admit after this point I stopped caring and debated just quitting. The problem is my DM is really fun to play with and is genuinely very funny, as is the other player. I don't want to drop out. I debated DMing him, but my dungeon master recently reached out and said I could file a report, which I did. I don't want him banned, but I do want him to know that what he did was not cool.
File a report online, something, I guess.
Yeah, it must be like some
Why is
kind of online
corporate
play D&D with people.
Oh, whatever. Where was the DM involved in the person getting a highlight for like 40 minutes by
Yeah.
themselves and doing whatever they wanted? Where was the DM being like, okay, no, we're gonna see what anyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, Lily livered. Sorry, I said it
Yeah.
again.
Or just like don't if people don't want to die to PvP and that's not something in your game, why allow PvP?
The DM can stop something at any time, but you
Yep.
know, I mean,
Just because you roll the dice doesn't mean that it actually happens.
it's there's I want to do a dang study on this since I have my bachelor's in psych. I want to do a study on people that play D&D for the first time and somehow they exhibit a feature of being like the main character.
Main character syndrome.
Yes, but I want to like boil that down and like get a sample and see if there's any correlates like personality type or
Mhm.
upbringing or something like that.
How was your childhood?
Because I mean, like it's not it's one-off incidents for people, but it's statistically significant enough that there's random groups of
Yeah.
people that all have one person that's like, no, I do hear them. I'm gonna join that fight, or I'm doing something. Focus on me. There's enough people that do that I
Yeah,
want to
we've
know
had
what's
some.
going on. Yes, I want to know. I want to understand them because I think they just need my help.
I do
You can
do
fix
want
them.
to yeah, I can fix them. I do want to, this is a little bit off topic, but I forgot I didn't say the name of Mr. My DM Made Me Impregnate a Werewolf. So the user is Anime Enthusiastic. User Anime
Amazing.
Enthusiastic. All one word.
Username tracks.
I
Okay.
was about to say, are you sure it wasn't intentional then?
All right. Well, I have one last one
Go ahead.
to end the night. Still same Reddit. I have u/Dungeon Diva 88. Yeah. This is called The Tale of Groomsh. It was supposed to be a fun night of gaming with friends, but as soon as the campaign started, it became clear that Dave, just out in his name, had no interest in playing by the rules. Dave's character, a half-orc barbarian, that coincidental, named Groomsh, was built solely for combat, had no social skills or regard for other players' enjoyment. At first, we tried to be patient with Dave. We thought maybe he was just excited or nervous. But as the night went on, his behavior became more and more disruptive. He constantly interrupted other players and the DM, talked over people, and refused to listen to any suggestions or feedback. Things went from bad to worse when Groom started stealing from other party members during rests. He claimed it was in character.
It's what my character would do.
But it was clear that he was just trying to stir up trouble. He also refused to participate in combat unless it directly benefited his character, leaving other party members to fight alone. It was clear that Dave wasn't interested in playing a collaborative game. He only cared about his own character and seemed to take pleasure in ruining the experience for everyone else. No matter how much we tried to reason with him, he wouldn't listen or change his behavior. As the night wore on, tensions rose and the game became less and less enjoyable. It wasn't long before people started packing up their things and leaving one by one.
Oh no!
In the end, only a handful of us were left, but the damage had already been done. The campaign had been ruined by Dave.
Dang, Dave.
After that disastrous night, the rest of us decided we couldn't keep playing with Dave. We spoke to him about his behavior and asked him to change, but he refused to listen. So we made the difficult decision to kick him out of the group. When we met for our next session, we explained to Dave he was no longer welcome to play with us.
He showed up.
Oh,
I think they
no.
decided to kick him, and then we're gonna tell him.
Oh, okay.
I think from the wording. At first, he seemed surprised and tried to argue with us, but we stood firm. Good for you, Dungeon Diva 88. That's when he made a scene.
Oh no.
Dave started shouting and accusing us of being unfair. He threw his dice across the table and flipped his character sheet, scattering papers everywhere. We tried to calm him down, but he wasn't having it. Eventually, we had to ask him to leave. It was a tough situation, but we knew we made the right choice. We couldn't let one person ruin the game for everyone else. In the end, we found a new player who was a better fit for our group, and the campaign continued without any further issues. They even have, this is like an anime ending. Looking back on that experience, I've learned that it's important to set boundaries and not let toxic behavior go unchecked. While it's never easy to kick someone out of a group, sometimes it's necessary for the sake of everyone's enjoyment.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
I'm glad we got the after school special lesson at the end.
Yeah.
Now, you want to know something really interesting about that story?
What?
It was a fake.
Did you make it all up?
It was fabricated by ChatGPT. It made the whole story.
ChatGPT
Wait,
made the
really?
whole dang
That's
thing.
so cool.
I
The
asked
power of AI.
That's
Could you-
neat.
I said, could you write me a fictitious D&D 5e horror story from the perspective of a player about another player who has poor etiquette and made the game less fun for everyone else? And then I also said, could you also generate a fake name for a Reddit user?
Dungeon Diva.
That is so cool.
You couldn't tell the difference too much, could you?
No.
In 10 years, we're going to be sharing these spaces with AI.
But I'm sorry,
Our podcast will be
ChatGPT.
replaced with AI.
Sorry that you had to deal with Dave and his half-orc barbarian groom.
Yep.
But
Now you, the audience, can replicate that story so it becomes real.
yeah, wait,
Go
what?
be groomed.
But for real audience, tell us your actual horror stories in the comments, or
Yes.
do what I just did and tell us your ChatGPT one, because I think this is really funny. You can get some crazy stuff, maybe.
If we like them, we'll feature them in the next time we do this, whenever that's
pin
going to
'em.
be.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
We like to take a couple months break between them, so it might be a while.
that'll be
Or
next
if
week.
you give us enough of them,
Next
we may
week.
do another one sooner.
Yeah, we could do
True.
another one sooner if you give us like at least 2 each, just 6 down there, you know?
Yeah, like 60, hopefully.
60.
Just one person makes 60 comments,
Just can we
please.
keep, we'll just have enough content for like the next few months off of one
Yeah.
person alone, please.
Okay. Any final notes about Reddit horror stories, everybody?
They're
D&D Reddit
funny.
horror stories?
No D&D
Hey.
is better than bad D&D.
Keep
Amen.
making the ones with the bullet points. They're always funny.
They're
The ones
always
with the
so
bullet points,
funny.
the listed bullet points tend to be funny, so keep making those. I like those.
Mhm.
What was the one that we had last time that was like the list of the things I hate about my D&D group?
Yes, it was just like here's why my D&D group is entirely bad, and it was like 50% correct and 50%
It
the
was
DM
so bad.
being like really overbearing.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, because they had like an airship or something.
Don't be evil.
I'm sorry for your bad experiences, but if they're funny bad, I'm
Yeah.
a little sorry,
Let us
but not as
know.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to
Sorry,
know.
because I'm grateful for getting to laugh at them.
Yes.
Exactly. It's funny to laugh at. Sorry you were in that situation, but
Alright.
and that's Reddit D&D horror story. ChatGPT, hold on. I need an outro for our podcast about this topic. Let's see what they say.
And this is when we reveal that Pertuset's been a robot the entire time.
Pertuset was the ChatGPT we made along the way.
This is gonna be too freaking long, ChatGPT. This is too long. I'm not
Just read
gonna
like
read
the
all of this.
last 5 sentences.
Okay, thanks for tuning in to our podcast, D&D Horror Stories. Happy gaming! I read the first sentence and the last sentence.
Amazing.
Oh.
And we're out.
Hey, We hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!